And we're back. Hello, Julia.
Hello, Jeff. We're back. From a trek across the state.
Yeah, I was trying to work with my mic, and I should have done this prior. There we go. Nice.
Behind the scenes.
The last time we did the podcast, I forgot to put my jacket on, and then there was another time when I didn't turn a speaker down.
No.
I'm a mess here.
No, we're working out the kinks. I would not have been able to figure out the speaker.
We're going to have all these kinks worked out in about 6 months.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be really, really good podcast.
And we're going to get it rocking.
We are. What you drinking there?
Decaf, I swear.
Okay.
It's a little half calf. I did a splash of caffeine.
All right.
A
splash of caffeine.
7:30. I don't know. I feel like I need it.
Okay, so
Right?
you do. So it's 7:30. You're drinking. Did you say it was half calf?
Half calf.
That's
like a splash.
Look at you getting it's a little late in the day to be half caffing it, isn't it?
It is, but we're talking after hours road trip recap. I need energy for that.
We do. So we're back. We made it.
Yes.
Over 1,000 miles and 23 towns
In 5 days.
in 5 days with 14 teammates and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah.
It was quite the journey.
We came back, we're both smiling. I think that's a good sign.
Yes.
Right there, we're off to a good start.
So we thought we would take the next 30 minutes to do we're just going to little road trip recap.
Yeah.
And talk about some of the stuff that people didn't see, or some of the behind the scenes stuff that happened on that 5-day journey, because it was not without some
Adventure.
Oh, is that what we're calling it now?
That's what we're going to call
It's funny because
everything.
we didn't call it that last week. I think it was something else.
No, but we can't say what we called it
No, we
on
can't.
air last week. Just kidding.
I tell you, it was. They're always a lot of fun. I think I've been on 5, and you've been on 4. And it's everybody asks what is the most fun about it, and fun is a little bit of a. I try to. It is fun. However, it's
still work.
there's a purpose for this. It's not out there just to see the biggest ball of twine, although that is something you should see, which we didn't see on this trip, but we did see the world's largest hand-painted egg,
Yes.
which is in Wilson. And so you can go see that. But it's beyond that. And then it comes down to what's your favorite part? And we always say the people. And it really is. That's not just saying that. I mean, it really is meeting all of the wonderful people across the state.
I, every day, walk into this building and think I'm so blessed to be here. And I think that week, though, reminds me of also why. We get to meet so many wonderful people. It's an amazing job. I'm blessed to do it every day. And then the road trip, I keep saying it. I feel like I have neighbors everywhere. And I gave the example to my parents. If being a reporter, you're out in the field all the time. And I give the example in Kansas, I don't worry about getting sent to a small town, getting stuck there. Maybe I'm covering, something that keeps you there for hours. And I think the fear is always, what do I do if I can't find a bathroom? And so the example is where I need a drink of water and it's hot. Can I go up to the door and ask, do you have a bottle of water I can have? And you go to all these towns and you don't worry about knocking on the door because everybody does feel like a neighbor, that you can do that. And I think that's a really cool example.
Like you had mentioned on Friday, you remembered a lot of names, and I remember Gerald, and some other, and a lot of other folks, but I wanted to remember everyone's name, and it's hard. Yeah. But the great thing about this trip is we go back to these. We try to go to different towns, but some people will. We see people every year that follow us on the and they're great, and you do feel like you're catching up with old friends.
Yeah,
which is a lot of fun. But I will say this: you mentioned something. When we first started this, and people who know me know that I don't. I need restroom access, like on road trips. Like I'm not great at I was the kid on the road, and when I was a child, taking trips with the parents that was always like, can we stop? I got to go. We got to stop. So I was apprehensive at first, 5 or 6 years ago when we did this. I was worried about, am I going to hold everybody up? But everywhere we went, everywhere we typically go on these road trips, there's access to that. But that's like a big concern for me. Is the bathroom?
I will say I do strategically plan, and this is kind of the behind the scenes. If we're in a spot where I know the bathroom is going to be really great, I will stop there and go to the bathroom. I also, driving from Hugoton over to, I think we did Hugoton Liberal, and I can't remember where we were going after. I'll see if I can find that. There is a bathroom right before that, because I've spent so much time in Hugoton and Liberal.
You knew the lay of the land.
When we drove by, I said, we're stopping here. The gas station's clean. The bathroom is great. The food's okay. I said, we're going to stop there.
I have some advice for those of you who are like me, where you have to, and people who are like me probably already know this, but never pass up a bathroom.
Yes.
Even if you don't have to go. Like
Yes.
you just go every single time. But it worked out really well, and I had a blast, and it's over, and here we are talking about it.
Corey said, how did you like the road trip this year? And I'm going to take a step further. What did you think this year compared to previous years?
Wow, that's a good question. They're all unique, but they're all similar. If that,
Yeah.
it's hard to explain that. Gosh, it just, this year was, I was in towns that I've never been to before, and there's always one or two of those. But this year, I felt like there were more towns that I've never visited, and which I love, because it's you learn so much about these communities.
Yeah.
And there's some really, really cool stuff, neat things. And I think this year that made it a little different for me was the fact that we went to more towns that I had never been to in my whole life in Kansas, all 87 years.
So an interesting thing. So my fourth year, your fifth year, this was the first year where I felt like I have it figured out. I have everything figured out. I know how to do it. And if you're not prepared for it, it's a grueling week.
Yeah.
They're long days. It's a lot of high energy. It's the most fun week we're ever going to have.
Mostly outdoors.
Mostly outdoors,
You're getting beat by the heat,
by the
and
heat,
the wind.
by the wind,
Yeah.
all of it, and then also by the rain. It rained again this
That's right,
year. We
yeah.
we got rained on last year, and so if you're not prepared, it can kick your butt.
Yeah.
So what did you think? I felt the most prepared this year. Did you feel that way last year on your fourth?
Never felt prepared. I really, I'm prepared. I guess for me, I figured out that it takes a lot of energy. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of energy that you use when you're talking and engaging with people and listening to them and hearing their stories and retaining a lot of that information. So you use a lot of energy, which can be physically exhausting, because we would come back to the hotels at night and just, for me, it was just instant, I'm out.
Yeah.
Early too, 8, well, not early for some people, but early for us.
Super early, which was great though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like 8:45-ish, and we would, I would be out. Some of the other folks though were out, if you know what I mean. Getting a little more of that town experience. You got to check some stuff out. But
Authentic experience.
so one of the things that happened that we did discuss it on the road trip, but we had one of our teammates make a wrong turn. GPS took them down like this dirt road adventure.
Yeah.
The day after, or it was the day of or after, we had several inches of rain in that part. And so, what happens on some of these rural roads, you sink. And so I wasn't there, you weren't there, but the vehicle sank, and we had to call a tow truck to pull them out. That was one thing. And then those poor Peyton Steiner, a reporter that we have, he was just caked in mud because he tried everything he could to push the car out. Then we had a flat tire. We had somebody had a blowout on the highway, which was a little frightening, because anytime you're on the highway, and to make things more interesting, harvest was beginning. And so when you're out in western Kansas and it's harvest season, which is right now, you are met with hundreds and hundreds of semis that are hauling grain to and fro. In addition to some of the bigger farm equipment, but the highways are kind of riddled with semi trucks. And so you get the flat tire and you got the semis, and it just...
All week I said, thank goodness it's not us. And I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Oh, like the karma.
Like we're all running into issues. And I was so thankful it wasn't us, the flat tire, the mud, and I was just waiting for it. Real quick, Jody said it was great to see you guys on the road trip in Holcomb. And this is the Jody who from Ulysses.
Yes.
Who is one of the people we consider then friends, and it's so great to see her and now I did make the mistake because I forgot that she is a teacher. So when does school start back up? And then I quickly remembered and I thought, ooh, so Jody, I'm sorry about that one. But it is fun to catch up with old friends and then hear what people are up to. And Ulysses has been incredible multiple years in a row, one of our favorite stops. And so then to see Jody and Holcomb, I remember being on the ground prepping for the 6 o'clock show, I think it was, and looking up and seeing her.
Yeah.
And you saw her first and turned around and was so excited.
Yeah,
so
because
that's
moment. My favorite part. And I said that on Friday.
Yeah.
I love seeing people come back, and some have come back we ran into a couple that had gone to they had gone to a stop every year. And we get lots of emails where people say, hey, I want to see that mural on the grain bin. Where was that? And so what was what surprised you the most on this road trip that maybe you didn't expect? It could be a good surprise. It could be a terrible surprise.
I will say something that was a good surprise was every single stop had a great turnout. And so there were some stops maybe that had hundreds of people. Great Bend had a ton of people, and some stops that were maybe a little bit smaller, but the quality was so wonderful to be able to stop and chat.
Yeah.
And some years we've had where we say, oh, maybe that one didn't quite work out at the time of day. They're always beneficial. We always meet great people or get a chance to talk and make connections. But this was one where I said we had incredible turnouts at every stop that you almost say, did I get enough time talking to people? And I think that's a good way to walk away from it.
Yeah.
What surprised you the most?
The T-shirts. Man, y'all love them T-shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, so much that we got to the point where we would arrive at a town at a location that everybody knew we were going to. And before I could get the box of T-shirts out, they were at the car.
Swarming.
And
I
I'm
wish
like,
I was kidding.
and I'm an idiot. I go, hey, I'm Jeff. Hey, and they're like, dude, medium, XL, and like a small, please. And I'm like, oh, you're here for the shirts. And so we would, and you took some video in Holcomb. And it was crazy.
I put it on Instagram and I put the Jaws theme song on that because they swarmed you.
I'm like, who wants to engage on important news items? And they're like, extra large. I'm like, I got you. But we had
we didn't have enough range and sizes.
We didn't, and I feel I didn't orchestrate that, but
Jeff Herndon personally ordered those.
Well, I'll tell you guys, I'll tell you what happened. So last year we gave out shirts and they were great and they were really good. And we ended up at the end of the road trip, we ended up with a surplus of like triple X, like 3X and 2X. So this year we're like, we're just not going to order that many. We'll like order more, mediums. Bad idea. So we now have a surplus. It's not that many. I think we only have 20 or so shirts left, but they're all small and medium. Yeah.
Yeah, we did need more XL, more triple XL. We didn't have enough range, and they went. Yeah. There was a moment in Holcomb where I thought I might be doing the 6 o'clock alone.
Oh, because of the shirt.
Oh, because
stuff.
You were getting.
I was trying, and then
which is great. We love that, but
yeah,
I was not in that.
First of all, I'm not complaining at all. I love that the shirts were such a hot commodity, and but I mean. The other thing too, I'll bring this up, is every time I've gone on the road trip, I have either said to myself or to others that are on the road trip that it feels like the last road trip.
Yeah, you do.
And I think that's part of that strategy is to. Well, I don't want to get too deep here, but it's far better and far more rewarding for everyone if you just lean into it and enjoy it and enjoy the work and enjoy the process. Meaning you need to, I call it embrace the suck. So if it's hot, 40-mile-an-hour wind and you've got to do shows and embrace it.
Yeah.
Romanticize it. Every little detail. And so to do that, for me, to cope with that is just like if you tell yourself it's the last road trip, then you sort of enjoy it. At least I do more. And you had mentioned to me on the road trip that you were kind of taking that approach.
Yeah.
Like if it is the last one, you're going to enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And if you're blessed to do another one, then you will enjoy it next year. And it just So every year, because we don't know. I'll be honest with you guys. We don't know if it's coming back. I don't know.
What people don't realize, I think, is it's a ton of time, energy, effort, money to plan, coordinate. There are so many people behind the scenes, even in the towns, that are meeting to. Where was our first stop this year?
Our first stop was in.
I'm trying to pull that up.
In.
Haven. Haven had a beautiful banner for us. They had changed the marquee.
Yeah.
Somebody said the facility that we were at, they said, we've never seen it this packed. They had donuts, they had food, they had a gift bag for us. I mean, so much planning from so many different people goes into making this week successful and fun and really a unique experience that I've not seen any other station across the country do it the way that we do it. And so we don't know. Are we coming back next year? And we hope that we do.
You said something interesting about the planning. I'll just let you guys in on this. I mean, it takes months and months of planning, and it is some people. And I kind of explained this to some of the folks that we were meeting. You know, we're not just pulling into town and shaking hands and handing out shirts. So every town that we go to, we are gathering stories about that particular community, and so. Where you and I may be at one location, we've got a crews of other people in that same town, and they have usually about 30 or 40 minutes. That's it to gather this information, and all of that is set up in advance, months in advance at sometimes. And so the whole road trip, it's 5 days, and I think it takes. I think there were at least 3 or 4 months of planning into it. A lot of phone calls, a lot of people getting on board, a lot of planning. I mean, we had that trip dialed in. Ashley Galloway, the executive producer. Just the routes that you're taking, the driving, the roads and construction. So it's an immense undertaking that looks simple on television.
Yeah.
On TV, it looks simple. Oh, we're stopping.
We just showed up.
Yeah, we just got out.
Yeah.
Here's some shirts, and we're leaving. It's far more complicated than that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, which makes it really worthwhile.
Absolutely. And we have several comments. I didn't fall behind. But Michelle said, thanks for visiting. Haviland, you guys are great. Everyone was so friendly and engaging. That was a great stop. And so it's fun to come out. And it's a two-way street. It's fun to be there and engage with all of you guys. But you guys showed up and made that stop what it was. Kathy said, did you miss sitting on Quinter's dinosaur this year? Glad you had that picture on your commercial.
We passed that dinosaur. We passed Quinter this year, but we did not have a chance to stop on the Sinclair Dino so in Quinter there's a Sinclair Dino with a saddle.
Yeah.
And I don't think Sinclair likes it if you sit on their dinos.
If they don't have a saddle,
but if there's a saddle on it,
you can do it.
Come on. Like that just says come sit on me. Doesn't it?
It does.
Okay. Don't wear a saddle if you don't want people to sit on you.
And take a picture.
And take a pic. And yeah, sorry.
Corey said, what's the best restaurant you ate on during the road trip?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, the last night we did get tacos in Dodge. Loved the tacos. Yeah. Where else did we eat? What was your favorite?
Oh man, they're all good. Let me start with they were all really good.
Yeah.
But I liked this steakhouse in Garden City, and I forgot the name of it.
Oh yes,
forgot the name.
We've eaten there several times.
Sorry, we eat there every year, and I like it.
Yeah,
and I liked it, and I like the food.
Yes.
Favorite? That's tough though. I hate saying favorite because it makes it sound like the others weren't. But I thought they. Where did we eat the first night? We went to also a steakhouse in Salina.
Yeah,
and I forgot.
We had good places.
I know where we went. I know where we went, and yeah, it was good. That was good too.
Yeah,
but the steakhouse in Garden City was probably my favorite.
Connie said, "Thank you for coming to Garden Plain. Everyone was so nice. Garden Plain was really fun, actually. Wow. I wanted you on that inflatable.
You want me on a lot of inflatables. You tried to get me in a bouncy house in Scott City like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
The dinosaur, I was surprised that you fed into that. You didn't get on the dinosaur, but you came over and you took a picture with me. But now that you say that, I've tried to get you to do a lot of chaotic things.
And I've not really been very good at following those directions. Sorry.
Maybe that's why you still have a job.
Garden Plain was really cool.
Yeah.
And I've got family in Garden Plain. I got to see my cousin and his wife and their daughter. And it was a really good stop for me to catch up with the Smith clan.
That was great to meet them. I got to meet your family. I got to meet a lot of Lisa's family.
Was on the road
meet
trip.
them for the first time, and then also reconnect with some of them in Andover. That was fun.
Yes. Yeah. Andover was good. You know, the thing about Lisa, we talk about some of the issues that happened, just so people may not know this, because we didn't broadcast this, but our storm tracker was broken. And it broke like the day before the road trip. And part of the big appeal, I will tell you, one of the most popular things on this road trip for people is the storm tracker, because you get to go inside it and look at the buttons and the
radar
and all the other buttons.
And the other buttons.
A lot of buttons. And the kids love it. They love it. It's so
the adults love it.
And so it's broken, so we don't have it. And then, to make matters worse, we have a real severe threat of weather on Tuesday. Our chief meteorologist, Lisa Teachman, she left Monday night. She had to leave from Salina, come all the way back. She worked all day Tuesday, continuous on some occasions. Well, then Storm Tracker got fixed, and so she was able to pick it up, and then she met us where'd she meet us?
She met us
Hugoton?
out in western Kansas.
You don't remember either, do you? Okay.
It was Wednesday.
I think she met us in Hugoton.
No, because that was Wednesday. I think it was Tribune.
No, she met us in Holcomb.
Or Holcomb?
Holcomb. She met us in Holcomb.
Okay.
So that was happening behind the scenes, and we didn't know.
Oh, it was Holcomb.
Yes.
Sorry.
So we didn't know if we were going to get Lisa back. We didn't know when and where. We didn't know if we were going to have Storm Tracker. And when you show up to these towns and you don't have Storm Tracker, some of them are like, and they're very nice, but there was some disappointment, and I understand that because Lisa's very engaging, and a lot of people love to talk to Lisa, and she loves meeting people and talking about weather and every other thing else. And so there was nobody was upset, but there was some disappointment there. I think on the second day,
which is also great because we love Lisa and we love Storm Tracker.
Yeah,
and so those are two KSN entities that we were very proud of. Lisa and Storm Tracker, but we of course wanted Lisa. Of course, I think was a hard one because selfishly you want Lisa.
Yeah.
But you also know that she's exactly where she needs to be, and we of course had that severe weather blow through and. There's nowhere else anybody else would have wanted her to be than being here and keeping people safe.
I want to bring up Wilson. I had never been to Wilson before, and I thought they did. They had it's the Czech capital of Kansas, and they do a Czech fest out there. And they weren't doing it then, but they had the Czech dancers out there for us in front of that beautiful historic hotel. The name escapes me. I don't remember the name, but if you're in Wilson or you've been to Wilson, they have an incredible hotel that I think has like 27 rooms, and it's beautiful. And they had dancers, and they had brats, and the weather was garbage. The weather was trash that day.
Yeah.
It was rain and stormy, but man, Wilson was really, really cool. All the places that we went to, but that was a place that I did never been to before, and I was like, whoa, they got something going on.
So Wilson was really fun. I said I had been up to Cocker City, which is nearby, and never made it to Wilson. Wilson was really fun. The people were amazing. I got to talk to some interns there that were really fun. But then you had said the entire time, I hear great things about Spearville. April said, we loved having you all in Spearville. That was also a really fun place that I think was just unique.
That was the youth.
It was a youth center.
That used to be the bank.
Yes.
And it was, so Spearville turned one of the banks that had moved, built a new facility. And they didn't want this bank building to just sit dormant. It's a historic building and bank, and so they renovated into a youth center, and they also do other events there too. So it's not so one dimensional, but the vaults are in there, where they kept the money and they kept the safety deposit boxes are still in there, and it was just a really, really cool way to use a building that otherwise would have just sat vacant because there wasn't any kind of a use for it.
I talked to the owner who had kind of created the space, and then his wife, and he's also a coach. And so he said that he wanted to give the students, it was up to 18, you can come into the youth center, wanted to give them a place during the school year to go out and hang out. And so we got to talk about, how do you fund it? What do grants look like? And they said, which was really unique, they said, we had the idea, we wanted to give them the space, but the community had to show up, and they kept just pouring back into how much the community supported them. And that was really just neat to talk to them about.
The Royal Lancers. They have an awesome logo, their high school, and I want the hat. But the guy that had the hat said, this hat was like from 8 years ago. You're never getting this hat. And I was like, maybe you'd be nice? And like, he's like, no, you're not getting my hat. So here's the other great thing about the road trip too. And this is just a cool thing. So if you want to take a road trip around Kansas, because we've done like 6 of these, and I think you can find that information on our website.
Yeah.
And so you could Google AI and say, what are some of the cool things to see around Kansas? And it'll give you it'll pop out the list. But if you want to plan a little, like a weekend or 3-day road trip around Kansas, you can look at our road trips and you can see that way because we kind of lay it all out for you. And it's a great resource if you're planning to go, to Monument Rock and you want to hang out but you want to go to Oakley first and see what they got going on there. If you want to go see the largest hand painted egg or the ball of twine or the Monet in Goodland or the Dalton Hideout in. No, where's the Dalton Hideout?
Come on.
I don't know, man. Help me.
I'm surprised you listed all the ones you did.
Do you know where the Dalton Hideout is? I forgot the name of the town. Anyway, which, by the way, that's kind of even the townsfolk will tell you that's
Oh, was it?
That's a little part of the deal.
Mead.
Mead, yes. Mead.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. And you can type in on KSN Summer Road Trip 2025, 24, 3, whatever.
Great resource.
And then also what I really like that our executive producer does is sometimes she'll find things that are like the Big Well Museum in Greensburg.
Yeah.
Amazing. If you get the chance to do it, go out there and see it. But then you also get some of the smaller things that are maybe off.
That's what I like.
Yes.
You're right on point.
Yeah.
And what would be one of those things quickly as we got 2 minutes? What's that one of those smaller things that you were like, oh, wow, like this is quite,
I do think the hotel in Wilson, because it's iconic. Different things have been filmed there.
There's a movie. I forgot the name of the movie.
And so I think in every spot we stop in different places and we get to learn about different places. I'm trying to think of other
was it
years.
Hugoton? Where was Bonnie? Where was Bonnie and Clyde's?
Bonnie and Clyde's was in Hugoton.
So there's a connection in Hugoton with Bonnie. She was there a little while at Hugoton, hanging out of Bonnie and Clyde fame, infamy. And so they've a little Bonnie and Clyde place there that was kind of neat. And then we're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
The theaters that these towns they rebuild their theaters and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell, Hugoton. There was another one too that was just outstanding, and I can't remember the name of it. But there's a lot of those around. Anyway,
one place that surprised me: the farm in Minneapolis. Just the most incredible space.
You go to and then we didn't even talk about Cottonwood Falls and the historic Chase County Courthouse.
Oh no! That one was so cool.
You can go and see the jail.
Yeah.
Okay. We're almost out of time. I got like 20 seconds.
I know. It was a great summer road trip. If you came out to say hello, it meant so much to us, and we genuinely mean that. And those are moments and memories and people that we, of course, continue to think about, and we're so grateful.
I was just going to say, too, we're going to do this tomorrow, and we're not going to talk about the road trip. This is our road trip finale. We're you know what I mean? We're moving on, right?
I want to relive it forever.
You don't. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.